Okay, it is the final 3 weeks of your accounting class. That cumulative final is looming and the pressure is officially on. Now, if you're staring at a mountain of material from the entire semester, if concepts are starting to blur together, and if you're just trying to make it to the finish line, you are definitely not alone. I'm Carolyn Grimm, and this is our Accounting Emotional Support Dinosaur. We are here to put the fun in the fundamentals of accounting and to take away some of that end of the semester stress. Now, that feeling of exhaustion is real, and I don't want to dissuade you from going into accounting if that is your chosen field. However, studies show that there is a large amount of burnout in the accounting profession, and really, it starts right here in these accounting classes. It's a mix of heavy workloads and technical details and the sheer volume of the material, and it's the perfect storm for creating stress. Now, a lot of students will try to cram everything into these last few weeks. They pull all-nighters, drinking caffeine and going by willpower, powering through it all, just trying to memorize formulas and journal entries. Well, I'm here to tell you, it doesn't work. Just don't do it. It's a trap. And here's why. Because accounting isn't a subject that you can just memorize. It's a language, so you have to understand it before you can really do it and do it well. So cramming just doesn't work when ideas from chapter 1 that maybe you didn't understand, you need for chapter 10 before you can understand that. So it's cumulative. But now here we are at the end of the semester, and we've got to get through that cumulative final. So how are we going to do that? Well, what if you had a week-by-week game plan, not just to pass, but to actually manage the work and master the key topics and walk into that final exam with real confidence? Oh, yeah. Well, stick around because I'm going to give you the exact framework that I would use to make that happen. So this is your 3-week plan to conquer your accounting final. All right, let's get into the game plan. 3 weeks out from the exam, when the final exam still feels a comfortable distance away, you're la-di-da-di-da, everything's great. Right now, it's all about triage and foundational review. Now, the biggest mistake that you can make right now is trying to review everything sequentially. Chapter 1 on. You start at chapter 1 and you just start chugging away and you hope that you're going to make it to the end. But that's not the most efficient way to do it. And what it does is it puts you in a situation where you're going to feel overwhelmed. So instead, we're going to be strategic about our approach. So the first thing you need to do is triage. You need to get brutally honest about your strengths and weaknesses. Go back through your quizzes, your midterm exams, the homework assignments that gave you the most trouble. Don't focus on the things that you got. Focus on the things that gave you trouble. Now, a cautionary note. If you are somebody who has done very little work throughout the semester, you know who you are. This is not the video for you. Down in the description, I will put a link to my crash course, The ABCs of Accounting, and see if you can maybe muddle your way through some of that. But for those of you who've been doing the work all semester, for those of you who are taking this seriously, this is your video. So as you're going through those past assignments, you're going to be a detective. You're going to put on your little Sherlock Holmes hat, and you're going to get out your magnifying glass. Where did you consistently lose points? That's what you're looking for. Which were the topics that made your brain feel like it was short-circuiting? Maybe it was adjusting entries, depreciation. Maybe it was for intermediate accounting, lease accounting. Oh yeah, or revenue recognition. So make a physical list of those tough spots, the things that gave you trouble. This list is now your enemy. And in the next 3 weeks, your mission is to systematically destroy it. Then we're going to do a foundational review. So before you tackle the hard stuff, you have to make sure your foundation is solid. And in my classes, I always stress foundation, get the fundamentals, because this is what everything else in accounting will build on. But even if you're a little shaky on the fundamentals, and this happens a lot with students when they're coming into my intermediate accounting class, they sort of got it the first time, but they always need a review. That's completely normal. So your job in that third week out is to go back to the very beginning, but with a purpose. Don't just reread chapter one, remaster chapter one. Let me tell you what that looks like. So I'm talking about the core building blocks, the accounting equation. Assets equal liabilities plus equity. This isn't just a formula, it's the logic behind everything. For any transaction, you should be able to explain how it keeps this equation in balance. Then, debits and credits. You have to get to a point where the normal balances and the increase and decrease rules are second nature. That means you need to understand the account types, what their normal balances are, and how that relates to debits and credits. This is the big stuff. It's so big, I put it on a t-shirt, okay? It's that big. So you can do this using flashcards, you can practice with T accounts, whatever it takes to get you to the point where you don't even have to think about it. And of course, I have videos on all those topics because we're all about the fundamentals of accounting. So I will drop a playlist in the description to help you with those. This final piece of revisiting the foundation is the financial statements. How do they interact with each other? How does net income from the income statement move to the statement of retained earnings? How does the ending retained earnings balance connect to the balance sheet? Draw it out. Draw pictures. Pictures are a really great way for you to remember how things work. And then explain it to yourself out loud. This is such a powerful, powerful thing. Because if you can't explain those connections simply, you don't know them well enough yet. And this is a language. You want to learn that language fluently. So in this first week, 3 weeks out, it isn't about covering the most ground. It's about reinforcing the load-bearing walls of your accounting knowledge. When you have a strong foundation, it is so much easier to build on that. If your foundation is shaky, your walls are going to come tumbling down, and we don't want that to happen. Okay, let's move on to week 2. So week 2, we're 2 weeks out from our final exam. We're going to be looking this week at active recall and deliberate practice. In that third week out, you found your weaknesses and you strengthened your foundation. That is fantastic. We're pivoting from passive review to active problem solving. This is where the real learning kicks in. Rereading your textbook and watching lectures, watching my videos even, is passive. True mastery comes from doing. You can read about how to swing a hammer, but you don't really know how to swing a hammer until you pick it up and start smacking stuff with it. So your mission this week is to live in the back of your textbook. Work through those practice problems at the end of every chapter. But here's the secret. Do it actively. Don't glance at the problem and then immediately check the solution, because that gives you a false sense of competence. This is like when my students say to me, I understood it in class, but then when I went to do the homework, I didn't understand it. It's because they haven't actively done it yet. You have to take the knowledge and now apply the knowledge. That's the difference. And you don't want to grab those problems that you can solve in your sleep. You don't want to do that. You want to take the problems that gave you a hard time. You want to take those problems that are in your weak areas and really try to solve them on your own. Struggle with it. Get stuck. The struggle isn't failure. What it's doing is your brain is building new connections. And once you get it that way, you will have it forever, whether you want it up there or not. Ask me how I know. So then after you've really given it a good shot, that's when you can go look at the solution. And don't just go, oh, yeah, got that right, got that right, got that, ooh, well, that was wrong, oh well. Don't just check the answer. Analyze the process. And this is the key that's going to turn you into a really good accounting student, whether you're just taking it because you're a business major or because you want to do this for a living. Ask the question, where did I go wrong? What was the conceptual gap, the why that I didn't understand that sent me down the wrong path? And then say it out loud in your own words. Write it down. This is a cycle of attempting, failing, analyzing, and correcting. And that is the fastest way to truly understand. You don't understand by always getting the right answer. You understand by getting the wrong answer and figuring out why it's wrong. That's the key. Now, to give this intense practice some structure, which I highly recommend, take a look at the Pomodoro technique. This is one I use for tasks that I want to get done as quickly and as efficiently as possible. Set a timer for 25 minutes and work on problems with 0 distractions, phone off, social media closed, just you and your accounting. It sounds heavenly, doesn't it? When the timer dings, take a 5-minute break and then do 3 more rounds, taking a 5-minute break in between. After you've done 4 rounds like that, take a longer break. Take a break for like 20 to 30 minutes. This helps you to stay focused and it helps you avoid burnout that comes from those long, unstructured study marathons. Now, if you've got some extra tough concepts like complex journal entries or topics like leases or investments, try the 1-2-4-7 method. Spend an hour on the topic on day 1. On day 2, review that topic for 30 minutes. On day 4, review it for 5 to 15 minutes, and then do the same thing on day 7. That spaced repetition is scientifically proved to move information from short-term memory to long-term memory way more effectively than cramming. And you don't end up with the shakes from drinking too much caffeine. And then the last thing to think about is forming a study group, but one that has very strict rules. It's for explaining concepts and solving problems, not just sharing answers. Being able to teach a concept to someone else is one of the most powerful ways to cement your own knowledge. If you can clearly explain how to calculate earnings per share to a classmate, you've got it down. Now, I've been teaching accounting for more than 20 years, and what I can tell you is that I am a much better accountant because I have to explain things to other people. It's not just a matter of like, I know how to do it. I have to actually think it through why we do things the way that we do it so that I can explain it to my students. It's an extremely powerful way to build knowledge. Week 2 feels like a grind because it is, but it's a smart grind. You're not just putting in hours, you're putting in focused, active, effective work. So let's see what we should be doing in week 1, the week before the final. So here we are 1 week out from our final. The pressure is mounting, and you also have, oh, by the way, other classes most likely where you're trying to do the same thing. But you have a plan, and plans always help make things better. So in this week, the week before your final, this is about doing mock exams and a final review. The goal now is to simulate the real exam, and that will help build up your stamina and your confidence. And for those of you who have test anxiety, this is one of the ways that you can help with that. When you put yourself into a test situation, not in the classroom, when all the money is on the table, you're just practicing. You're just practicing. You're just practicing at your desk. No big deal. So your main task in this final week is to do at least 2 full-length practice exams under timed exam-like conditions. For people who are taking the CPA exam, this is one of the things that they do to make sure that they're going to pass the exam, right? They sit down and they practice and practice and practice until when they walk into that exam room, they've got it. They're ready for it. So find a quiet spot, set a timer for the exact length of time of your final. It's an hour and 25 minutes or it's 55 minutes. Put your phone away. This is crucial for a few reasons. First of all, it builds endurance. So maybe you didn't know that accounting is an endurance sport, but it really is. I've been in the accounting profession since the 1900s, children. It's an endurance sport. Trust me on that. So accounting exams feel like a marathon sometimes, and you need to know what it feels like to focus that hard for that long. You're also practicing your time management. So if you get hung up on one problem and you spend your entire time on that problem, you don't get to the other problems that maybe were easier. So your mission with these practice exams is to see what types of questions slow you down. So you can learn to pace yourself and not spend too much time on tough problems and miss those easier points for the other questions. Then after each practice exam, the review of that exam is just as important as the test itself. So don't just glance at the score. Go through every single question you got wrong, even the ones you guessed and got right, right? The ones you got wrong and the ones where you were just guessing, those are both weak areas. So for each mistake, ask yourself, was this a conceptual error? I didn't get the why of it. Was it a mechanical error? I messed up a calculation or I wrote down the wrong number. Sometimes it's a simple math error. Or did I just misread the question? And that right there is one of the big parts of accounting that makes accounting classes difficult, is the way that questions are worded. If you're using a homework platform online, some of those questions, they throw so many words in there. I really wish they wouldn't. Give me the numbers. I will give you the answer. Don't mess it up with all those words. But this diagnostic piece of it is critical. Go back to your notes, your textbook, relearn that specific concept. What was it that you missed? And then rework that problem correctly. That targeted review is the highest value studying you can do in this final week before your final. Now, while you're doing all that, create a cheat sheet of your most common mistakes and key formulas or facts, whatever it is that you need to understand that particular concept. Now, your professor's probably not going to let you use this in your exam. Maybe they will, but it's important to write the stuff down and not type it so much, but to write it. Because when you write it, it enters your brain in a different way than typing it does. And what it does is it creates a great review tool. You don't have to go back through 27 chapters. It's all right there, the stuff that you need to review. And having it right there in 1 or 2 pages condensed like that makes it really easy for you to access it. You can read it in the morning and then read it at night right before you go to bed. And it's just reinforcing, reinforcing, reinforcing. And then when you get to that point when you're a day or 2 out from your exam, ease up on the intense problem solving. Just lightly review your notes, look at your cheat sheet, your corrected practice exams. Your brain needs time to consolidate everything you've thrown at it. The night before the exam is not for cramming. It's for getting your materials together, getting a good night's sleep, a decent meal. Overstudying to the point of exhaustion will hurt your performance. Because what you want to do is you want to walk into that exam feeling rested, prepared, confident. You had a plan, you followed the plan, you did the work, and now you're going to show what you know. So to review, because review is important, 3 weeks out from your final exam, triage your weak spots, build your foundation. Week 2, active recall, deliberate practice. Week 1, simulated exam conditions to sharpen your strategy, build your confidence. So none of this is a magic trick. It takes discipline and it takes hard work, but it's a system. And when you have a system, that makes your life easier. It trades panic for confidence because you are prepared. Preparation is everything. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, step back and start thinking about how you can put a plan like this in place to help you do your best. Also, it really does help to have an emotional support dinosaur. I highly recommend it. So if this was helpful for you, share it with your friends because they may find it helpful too. And let me know in the comments what the things are that trip you up when you're preparing for an exam like this, because I'm always looking for ideas of resources I can create that can help you. So good luck. Terrence and I are over here cheering you on, and I will see you next time.